and the invocation. Our God, we're grateful to have the opportunity to make decisions for the people of Springfield. Help us to do it well. In your name we pray. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. We need to approve the minute.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Present.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. The clerk will proceed to read the first reading.
Amending ordinance number 9190 passed March 12, 1991, and commonly known as the Codified Ordinances of the City of Springfield, Ohio, by repealing and replacing Section 185.17 entitled Longevity Payment and repealing Section 185.18 entitled Longevity Administration Rules. Consenting to the repair of bridge erosion issues on State Route 41, structure file number 1201654 within the City of Springfield by the Ohio Department of Transportation, PID number 110155, providing for the maintenance of the right-of-way and authorizing the city manager to enter into agreements with the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio necessary to complete the project. Consenting to the removal and replacement of Type A anchor guardrail assemblies at various locations within the City of Springfield by the Ohio Department of Transportation, PID number 113767, providing for the maintenance of the right-of-way and authorizing the city manager to enter into agreements with the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio necessary to complete the project.
Are there any questions or comments, commissioners? Yes.
I was wondering if staff might give us some idea of where the bridge and item 279-22, where that's located. I'm trying to place it, and I don't recall.
Yes, Commissioners, I'll ask Chris Moore, our Service Director, to answer that.
It would be a lot easier to place if the Department of Transportation used road names. This is the Plum Street Bridge over Buck Creek.
Thank you.
Much easier.
Much easier. Thank you.
Anyone else? Clerk will proceed with second reading.
Amending the zoning map of Springfield, Ohio by rezoning 31.27 acres located at 330 Tuttle Road, Springfield, Ohio, from RS5 Low Density Single Family Residence District and City EEC POD Eastern Edge Corridor Plan Overlay District to RS8 Medium Density Single Family Residence District and City OPD8 Planned Development Housing Overlay District.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Name and address for the record, please.
My name is, excuse my voice, I woke up with bronchitis this morning. Not COVID, I got tested. Brenda Jackson at 25 Larchmont Avenue. And we want to keep the roads and communities safe. That's our main goal here. There are serious safety and significant service concerns with the potential rezoning and development under consideration for this green space field between Larchmont and Tuttle Road. Springfield, Clark County development is positive and needed, but given the current potential, economic environment, and many known challenges, is a fourth major housing development that with what Springfield and Clark County is in need of right now. There are these 100 plus homes are in addition to 1,200 homes planned for East Clark County. There's Bridgewater, Melody, Leffel Lane development. Clark Shawnee Schools, the brand new school, is already at capacity. And so there's concerns there. Then there's also the environmental impact to this land and surrounding areas. including long-established residential properties. And this is unknown. These environmental impacts, we've not seen any research on that. And also the street I live on, we have children that ride bicycles, dirt bikes. Today I saw a golf cart go down the road. Larchmont is one of the entrances and exits planned for this development. It is a one-lane, basically, street. We have a lot of dually trucks. We have a lot of work trucks that come in and out. Garbage trucks, we have 3 to 4 different types of garbage trucks that come in. Rumpke, Waste Management, Vance's, and I can't remember the other one. But it's not a road right now that can handle over 100 more cars. And that would be 200, because every household has at least 2 cars. Thank you.
Anyone else? Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Diane Boreski. I live at 1152 Old Columbus Road. I live a very short ways from this project that we're here tonight about, and I never even knew about it. I know the newspaper is not as widely read as it used to be because I am a retired realtor for 34 years in Clark County. I'm a lifelong resident, and I was born and raised on Bird Road. And this is an absolute travesty to the residents of our area. It's just a pitiful shame that you have not allowed this information to get out as wide as it should be. And folks, I'm sure you know that Springfield Township wraps from the east side to the south side to the west side. And I can tell you there is people on my very road that lives very close to this project that has never even heard about it because they don't get the paper. Are they to be punished? Also, our new school district, we have just got in it, and here you are projecting that you're going to overpopulate it before we even get a good start. And what about the kids? Won't that be a nightmare of the kids out there? You were a teenager one time. Do you remember getting out of school and having a car, or your parents perhaps, and the traffic that's going to happen there? I know they put that circle thing in there. And now I know why. I think somebody knew about this is happening already. What about our children? You talk about safety. So I think you need to have the newspaper make the whole Springfield Township folks aware of what you're doing. We are annexed constantly. I can remember the first time I heard that the nursing home, the pretty castle on the west side, that you annex it. How can you annex it? Why would you do that when where is the money? Where's the taxes that we were getting? What about we people who pay for the schools? Now, all these people building in these Springfield developments that you're projecting and approving, do they not go to Shawnee School District with all of our schools over there in one spot now? Won't the traffic all be there? That's all I can say right now because I honestly just found out about it. I really like to get the information out to my fellow Shawnee members and get the area that's really going to be impacted by your decisions. Thank you very much.
Do you own that property? Do you own the property that we're talking about? We don't annex property unless the owner of the property asks us to annex it. It's not something we initiate. It's something that the owner of the property comes to the city and says, I want my property to be part of the city. Now, if you don't want the owner to have his property part of the city, let me suggest that you offer to buy the property or talk to the owner. But at this point, you must understand the owner of the property is requesting that the property be annexed to the city. It is not something we initiate. Second point, Shawnee schools pick up over 200 kids every year from Springfield City on open enrollment. Do you have to take those children? No, absolutely not. So please don't tell me the schools are overcrowded when in fact you have taken over 200 kids from Springfield City alone and said, come on into our school district. We got plenty of room. I'm not buying that either.
Wait. Let's not.
So
If you want to talk, you need to go to the microphone anyway.
if you don't
I
own this
understand.
property, let me suggest that you talk to the owner. Because he is, or she, or the people, I don't know who owns it, are the ones who approached us and said, please annex us. And we're looking at that very possibility.
But just point of clarity, this is annexed property. So this is already city property. So just don't want to confuse any issues here. If a private landowner requests to be annexed into the city and it's doable, meaning that there's service available right there, then we have to oblige. Am I right, Brian? We have to oblige. It's not about, I'm going to hold, no, I understand, but it's, they want services, so they need to be annexed to have those services. That's all. And then the owner has the right to do with the property according to the zoning regulations, which we're talking about tonight. This is all about housing zoning. Okay? And I just want to address your concerns about children's safety. I have 5 kids. I don't think any of us want to see any children hurt whatsoever. So I wouldn't put that on this commission. We want a safe environment for kids. We're seeing growth in Clark County. The answer to do we need the homes? Yes. Otherwise, these investment groups, these housing developers would not be in our area looking to develop houses. They just wouldn't even touch Springfield because it wouldn't be a good investment, but it is. Okay? So that's kind of where we're at tonight. We're just talking about zoning and the density of zoning within this property.
Thank you for the clarification. Yes.
Made me forget what I was going to say. I think to the second, the owners is they are actually a trustee.
That's right.
2 people. And I tried today to find a way of contacting them. Auditor has nothing. No one has any way of contacting them because we were concerned also about the barn on the property. It is a bank barn. But if they don't care that it's torn down, then that is their business. I understand that. But that was one of the reasons I was trying to contact them. With the safety that Larchmont really needs to be looked at.
Great.
I mean, it is not wide enough to handle that. And children are they're playing ball in the street because they've got no place to play. If we could put a park over there in the field, that would be wonderful.
It's a great idea. And I think in the last meeting, it was brought up that within this housing development, there's a park. And this is one of the reasons why this commission, when these folks approach us about developing and presenting their plan to the city, one of the ideas was that they would have a park within that development so children could play. So this is why we like this idea of what they're bringing forward and as far as the way this development's laid out.
Okay, one thing about that park, it needs to address teenagers, not just toddlers
Right.
with swings and slides and teenagers. Because that's what we have majority of in the Garden Acres community.
I think it's fundamentally important to understand that people want city services often. They want the park. They want the police. They want the fire.
But are we going to have more police?
Well, it'll be our
It'll
responsibility.
be our responsibility.
Yeah, because that is something that's missing.
Absolutely.
In this is the
And
infrastructure.
the city charter has a minimum in it, and we're above it. I hope we continue to be above it and are looking for more young people to sign up to consider being police officers as well as firefighters and other paramedics.
Yeah, because our
Yeah,
fire,
so
our fire
my
department
point
are
is this,
volunteers.
if
Let him finish, please.
If you want the city's services, the parks, the police, the fire, then you got to be part of the city. What's that old American Express ad? Membership has its privileges. That's true for cities too. If you're not a member of the city, if you're not in the city boundaries, then you're not going to receive city services. And if you want the services, the only way you can get them is by becoming part of the city. Then you can have access to the city services.
Okay. I get city water that was brought across from when Walmart was put in. And
you
that's, I do not pay the city for that water.
No, you pay one
I
and
pay-
a half times more.
I
because
do,
it goes through the
$35 a
county.
month, $105 every 3 months.
Yep. And
Sewage,
you would pay less if you were in the city.
I don't want to be in the city, that's why I
We
moved out
understand that
there.
We
too.
understand that.
We respect that.
All right,
I'm Linda Brown. I live at 220 Tuttle Road. I have a question more than a comment. When the property that we're talking about was proposed to be an Aldi site, we were told that ODOT did not permit access to that property off of 40. Now, some of the pictures I've seen has a proposed entrance off of 40 and the other one off of Larchmont. So I guess I'm questioning, why is this different than when Aldi wanted to go there? If
ODOT
anybody
was
knows.
only allowing a right in, right out for Aldi's development off of 40. Aldi did not want a right in, right out. They wanted a full access to the light there at Tuttle Road. Did not work. We heard those concerns and we believe it
We
didn't
actually
work
didn't-
either.
We didn't agree with that type of development for that area either. Because we
Right.
agreed it wasn't safe the way it was being approached.
Right.
But
So-
the housing developer has proposed a right in, right out on 40,
So
which
this is
approvable.
different.
Yes,
is
it
like
is
the-
different.
This would be like
Bridgewater?
the housing addition beside Walmart then?
Yes,
Okay.
where it has that right
I
in, right
understand.
out.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrom,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Accepting the application for annexation of certain territory containing 13.38 acres, more or less, in Springfield Township and commonly known as the Titus Road, South Charleston, Pike annexation area to the city of Springfield, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Dr. Estrom,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into agreements with Reed Park Limited for the lease, operation, and maintenance of Reed Park Golf Course.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Dr. Estrom,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Confirming and approving change order number 1 to the contract between the city and Motorola Solutions Incorporated to reduce the contract in an amount not to exceed $422,953.50 for a total amount not to exceed $507,387.50, and authorizing the city manager to execute change order number 1.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
This is a reduction. That's fantastic.
Yes, this is related, Commissioner, specifically to our dispatch consoles and the maintenance with that. As you know, we transferred that equipment and that asset to the combined dispatch center, so that now is covered. The maintenance for those is now covered under the county's contract, and so that allowed us to reduce the full, the term of our.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Dr. Estrom,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Consenting to the repair of the bridge deck due to an overheight load accident on structure file number 1203126 within the city of Springfield by the Ohio Department of Transportation, identified as CLA US Route 68, and further identified by PID number 117656, providing for the maintenance of the right-of-way and authorizing the city manager to enter into agreements with the Director of Transportation of the state of Ohio necessary to complete the project.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
Where is this bridge?
On
located?
68.
68, I see.
Yeah, do you want to specifically say where at on 68?
This would be the Eagle City Road Bridge over US 68.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yes.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrom,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Confirming and approving the acceptance of an Assistance to Firefighters grant from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, in an amount up to $65,676.32 for rapid intervention training, authorizing the local matching expenditure in an amount not to exceed $6,567.64, and authorizing the city manager, finance director, law director, and fire chief to perform all acts and execute all documents they consider necessary to fulfill the city's obligations under said grant and to comply with all relevant local, state, and federal legal requirements.
Move to adopt. Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
If Chief Miller could, or staff could give us a little more information about what this grant will do for the fire division.
Good evening, Commissioners. This grant is specifically to backfill on-duty crews with overtime personnel. So the on-duty crews are able to go and do training without the interruption of dropping their training and going out to make a call. So it really increases the efficiency. It's specific to rapid intervention training, which is really firefighter safety driven. So these crews stand by at a fire with a certain set of responsibilities, and they interrupt an unsafe environment if a firefighter gets into trouble. We had a recent incident, as everybody's aware, and we've seen that firefighter who was injured do much better and be released from the hospital. So we're excited about that, and so the timing of this grant seems super appropriate. We're deeply appreciative of the federal government's consideration of our situation.
Very good. Thank you, Chief, and please wish that firefighter well.
Thanks so much.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Dr. Estrom,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Confirming purchases and the obtaining of services for the city and providing for payments therefore and declaring an emergency therein.
So
To
moved.
adopt. Second.
Seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Yes.
Dr. Estrom,
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
Providing for supplemental appropriations within various funds and declaring an emergency therein.
I'll move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Rue,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Dr. Estrom,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes.
The next item has been amended after the agenda was published and was noted on the add-on sheet. I'll read the title as it has been changed. Authorizing the city manager to enter into amendment number 1 to the agreement with Marker Incorporated for the design, build, construction of the National Advanced Air Mobility Center of Excellence to be located at the Springfield-Beckley Municipal Airport, to exempt the purchase of the pre-engineered metal building materials from the retainage requirement, confirming and approving related expenditures occurred from August 30, 2022 to September 30, 2022, and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved as read by the clerk.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yes.
Dr. Estrom,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland,
Yes.
confirming and approving change order number 4 to the contract between the city and Blue Scope Construction for the installation of a sludge storage facility at the wastewater treatment plant to increase the contract in an amount not to exceed $390,129.21 for a total amount not to exceed $3,279,911.71. and to extend the contract completion date to December 31, 2022 pursuant to the Sourcewell Contract Purchasing Cooperative Program in accordance with provisions of Section 9.48 of the Ohio Revised Code, authorizing the city manager to execute said change order number 4 and declaring it an emergency therein.
Move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
I was wondering if Mr. Moore might explain again the efficiencies that we will realize from construction of this facility, because it's pretty substantial over the long run.
Yes, it is. It is very substantial. Right now, the sludge that is a result of our wastewater process has to be stored in a dry location, and it is then field applied. It can only be field applied when the weather is favorable. Sometimes the weather is unfavorable and the sludge builds up, and we have the concern we would have to send it to a landfill. The landfill price is about a 300% increase over field application. This storage facility will give us more than enough room to store this and get it put down at the optimal times at an optimal price.
That's great, and it's large enough that we'll be able, as our city grows, to deal with the wastewater issue effectively and efficiently.
Yes, yes.
Great. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrom?
Yes?
Copeland?
Yes.
Confirming and approving the acceptance of a fiscal year 2022 Bulletproof Vest Partnership Award in an amount up to $15,153.13 from the Bureau of Justice Assistance, authorizing city manager, finance director, law director, and chief of police to perform all acts and execute all documents they consider necessary to fulfill the city's obligations under said grant and to comply with all relevant local, state, and federal legal requirements and declaring it an emergency therein.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrom?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Confirming and approving change order number 2 to the contract between the city and Miller Pipeline LLC for the 2022 Miscellaneous Sewer Lining Phase 1 project to increase the contract in an amount not to exceed $5,477.50 for a total amount not to exceed $531,096.50 and to extend the contract completion date to September 30, 2000, and authorizing the city manager to execute said change order number 2 and declaring it an emergency therein.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? The audience? Clerk will call the roll.
O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrom?
Yes?
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Confirming and approving change order number 1 to the contract between the city and Kennison Excavating Incorporated for the 2022 Miscellaneous Waterline Replacements Project to increase the contract in an amount not to exceed $25,100 for a total amount not to exceed $984,841 and authorizing the city manager to execute said change order number 1 and declaring it an emergency therein.
Move.
Seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estrom?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the acceptance of a donation from the Police Wives Club of 100 combat application tourniquets valued at $2,000 and declaring it an emergency therein.
So move.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
I would just ask the chief to convey our thanks to the Police Live Club, please. Very generous of thank.
Anyone else? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrom?
Yes?
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Finding the necessity and declaring the intent to appropriate interest in real property in connection with providing right-of-way and easements needed for the purpose of making and repairing roads which shall be open to the public without charge, to wit, the pavement reconstruction and resurfacing, curb and walk replacement, traffic signal upgrade, drainage improvements, and/or water and sewer infrastructure improvements on Yellow Spring Street between West Grand Avenue and Pleasant Street, and declaring it an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Dr. Estroff?
Yes?
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. That concludes our agenda. Are there other items to come before us from commissioners?
I just want to say it's good to be back. Kevin had to introduce himself to
Right.
me. He had forgotten what I look like.
Now, that's not true. How could you ever forget you?
Well, that's
You've
a
been
good
around a long
point,
time,
Kelly.
man.
Yeah, really. My family and I had a great trip to Europe. We visited several countries, including Italy, where my wife's family is originally from. Went to the village where her family still resides. And then we went to Denmark and made some connections with my family there. But I will tell you, it's good to be home. The second thing I want to say, and Chris, please pass this along to the people in your department. I have had several people in the community say to me, downtown Springfield and all the flowers look absolutely great. And please thank the people responsible for planting them, putting them there, and taking care of them, because it just makes our downtown look super. And please pass that along to members of your staff. I've heard it from 5 or 6 different people who have just walked up to me and said exactly that. So please pass that along.
And there was a magnificent addition to that today.
Yes.
Magnificent, you want to?
Oh, no, I just brought it.
This picture, and this was a good example of Patty Mosley's influence on this community. And when you drive by the bank there and look at the wall, that's what it's all about.
Just to add to that, there are one of my faith family members, that is her aunt. Diane the Aplin is her niece. So loving to hear that connection there and being able to see that legacy that's still here within Springfield.
Anything else from commissioners?
Had a question. I'm passing this on, Jill. We better be right. Beggars Night is the 29th from 6 to 8 p.m. That right, Jill?
That's what I read on the News and Sons website today.
There you go.
You may notice I'm dressed a little differently this evening. I've graduated from a number of institutions. My elementary school, my high school, college, graduate school. But I never got such a nice picture. So this is graduating from physical therapy.
All right.
As some of you may know, I had my knee replaced, and as of today, I'm going through the torture of going over and having people make me walk and bend and a variety of ways build up that knee. But they believe I am now able to take care of that without. So that's why I had this on today. Anything else from commissioners? Anyone in the audience want to speak to us? Really?
I would move to adjourn.
Second. Thank you, Rob.
I would observe that I think our meeting was about twice as long because Dave was back.
Is that on the record?
Feel free to put it in the
I know.
Okay.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Ms. Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Dr. Estrom,
Yes.